know me, you probably know me from Goodreads. My name is Miranda Reads, and I am a book reviewer. I have my own blog. I have an interrupting dog. Ooh. Okay. I thought YouTube would be a fun thing to do. I have done a lot of reviewing, and I really do love it. I've loved all of the opportunities I've had to review for book companies. I've loved meeting all of the great people on Goodreads, and I really enjoy finding like the right way to write a review. It's a lot of fun to write book reviews. However, I kind of want to do something more, you know? Like when you have something and you're like, oh, this is a lot of fun. But after a year or so, you're kind of like, could I do something else? And that's why I thought, why not try BookTube? We're gonna start off, see where this goes. So for the very first, what I think I'm gonna do is take you through my life in books. I have 5 books, well, book series, and they represent the major obsessions in my life. I'm not saying that these are the only books I've obsessed with, but when I think of elementary school, or when I think of high school, these are my series, my go-to series. Start off with my very first book obsession, which I think at this point almost everyone in the world is at the same level as me, but Harry Potter. This book here was my very first book obsession. And I mean obsession. I was still in elementary school when the series was coming out, and I remember just being terrified to read it because I was so worried that Harry Potter would die. And keep in mind, this is like when about 3 books have been released at this point, and it's a 7-book series. It was also the first time I learned the power of titles. If it's always Harry Potter and you can't kill off the main character, can you? I know, it was revolutionary at the time. That was my very first obsession. It is still my obsession. This series I reread about once a year, and I'm not joking. I normally hit the audiobook because the audiobook narrator, perfect. But I also will reread the books. I'm loving that they're doing these illustrated books. Those are incredible. To put it mildly, absolutely incredible. I cannot love them. So then we hit middle school. And middle school was a rough time. It was a rough time for, I think, pretty much anybody involved. Middle school was a rough time. For me, I spent too much time in books, not enough time with people, which actually might be a theme for the rest of my life. But middle school obsession, bam. So Eragon was my middle school series. I remember reading that first one within a day. I was a huge fan of dragons. I would draw them all the time, play pretend back in 6th grade. I loved dragons, and this series delivered for middle school Miranda Reads. It was fabulous. I could not get enough. Even now, I will reread this one once every few years, once I forget details, and I'm still like obsessed with how good this series is. So now we're gonna hit high school. So just to put everyone in a frame of reference, I hit high school when I was, when I was in 14, 15, like everyone else. I hit high school in the early 2000s, so I think everyone knows where this is going. I can tell you're judging me. Well, you shouldn't, because you were on this train too. Twilight hit me like a ton of bricks in high school. I was reading it, I was rereading it. I saw that first movie an embarrassingly high amount of times. Like, I'm talking over and over and over. I had a vegetarian vampire t-shirt. It was so edgy, it was so cool. I remember wearing this to high school way too many times. And for you all, I want to be completely honest with you. This is my original high school copy. If you can tell, the spine is completely gone. I tried taping it on one side and they tape it on the other. I literally read this book to death. I don't think I've ever done this to another book. It is bad. But it was my absolute favorite series. There's a lot of people out there who do not like Twilight. So I have tried to see, like, if I reread this as an adult, do I look at it differently? Am I sophisticated? Can I not? I can't. I love this series. Every time I reread it, it is the same. I cannot stop obsessing over this book. All right, so then once I got through my Twilight obsession, I hit college round 1. And I went for a science-related degree. So my life was very hectic. It was very, very go, 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 study, study, study. So I don't really have too many book obsessions that happened during that time. So I hit my Alona Andrews phase. And I remember reading this book and absolutely loving it. I remember like just snapping through all of the books, all of those series. Hello, little dog. Okay, I'm doing a video. Come on, okay. I was just, the world, the way the magic was done, that flipping thing that they do, I loved it. I could not stop obsessing over it. I loved the series. The only thing is, I tried going back and I tried listening to the audiobook, and I remember going, oh my gosh, why did I like it? And part of me thinks I just didn't gel with the audiobook narrator, but I'm a little bit scared to go back. I'm a little bit hesitant to try the whole series again. Am I still buying the new books as they're coming out? Absolutely. So then we hit college round 2. So right now I'm in a graduate program. I'm going for my PhD, still in the science field. And that's also when I started picking up on Goodreads. It was because one of my friends was like, Miranda, you are reading an absolute ton. You need to do something with this. And she introduced me to Goodreads, which she was a part of. And I was like, this is kind of fun. We'll see where it goes. Considering I read about 200 to 300 books a year, I had a lot of reviews on there actually really, really quickly. I had a lot of reviews on that site. And I had a lot of fun. And one of my favorite things that I've discovered since coming to Goodreads is Sarah J. Maas, the Master. I know her name is pronounced differently, but I just love calling her the Master. That's just me how it goes. I discovered Sarah J. Maas since coming to Goodreads, and that has made the whole Goodreads experience just worth it. If I'm gonna be completely honest, it was book 2 that really got me into this series, but this book is the first one, and I'm talking about firsts here. It was just something about this series, like I read it and I'm like, oh no, it's gonna be another Red Queen, or it's gonna be awful. And I'm like halfway through. And then you get to that halfway mark and everything just changes on its head. And I had like a moment where I was just like, holy shit. I was just hooked, and I just burned through the rest of the series. I was just absolutely obsessed. I could not put this down. I loved it. So then that is probably like where I am now. So like those are my 5 big book obsessions that kind of define my reading life. Overall, this is my book series obsession in my life. I had a lot of fun in these pages. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.